Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Talking Bullion. I got myself a little package in the mail, a little bit of a story behind this one. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But I wanted to show you what I picked up and show you some reference material that I use as part of my stacking process. So I thought we'd talk about that today and go through a few things. So why don't we go ahead and take a look. Alright, so the story behind this little package is I bought it off of Instagram. And Instagram's a decent place to look for things and to hang out and find other stackers and a lot of different stuff. I really only use it for stacking purposes. I don't really engage with it too much. I do have an account on there, Talking Bullion 18, if you want to check it out. But people like Silver Bean Counter frequently has videos about buying stuff off of Instagram and it being a good resource for you to pick stuff up. And I agree. I think you can find some pretty good deals out there. And the classic people hang out there like, Yankee Stacking and Silver Dragons and, like I said, Silver Bean Counter and others that you don't see on YouTube as well that are just primarily Instagram people. Stacking.NYC, Tommy there on Instagram, big time seller, and does a couple live auctions throughout the week. I hang out on those once in a while. So it can be a good resource. So what I did is I saw something out there that I wanted and bought it. And, Instagram's a little bit different than, say, another social media place that I really don't care much for overall is Facebook. But again, Facebook is a great place to buy precious metals. And what I like about Facebook is you have to join groups and they validate you. And you can't just post things out there unless you have references. You have to be a known person. And if somebody is kind of new or you don't recognize their name, you can say, hey, I'll buy it now, but you need to provide me with references first. And, they'll comment and get people that I bought from before to come back and say, hey, good seller. Another thing you can do is you can click on their name and go to their page and see how many things they've sold. So I really like how easy it is on Facebook to kind of confirm who you're buying from. Of course, it doesn't guarantee anything, but it certainly helps. But on Instagram, maybe I just don't know how to use it that well. It doesn't have those same links and that same stuff for validating and verifying who you're buying from. Now, you can kind of recognize the people that are out there, and I recognize this person that I bought it from throughout the deal and waiting for this thing to come. I wasn't sure I was going to get it. I was afraid I might have come across my first getting screwed online type of sale. So this person did have references associated with the account, and I did click on those and check it out. But again, it's just not as smooth and easy to follow the references as it is on Facebook. And, again, Facebook has some pretty good deals. That's where I do a lot of my buying nowadays, just for that reason. So I bought this, paid for it. As you know, you always have to pay up front. And then I waited several days, didn't hear anything back. And then I, wrote the guy on Instagram and said, hey, haven't heard from you. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I only ship 2 times a week. Oh, well, that would have been good to know. Okay. So finally on a Monday, he sends me a, copy of my shipping label, tracking number. Everything looks good on it. I'm like, all right, cool. It's in the mail. So I start checking USPS for tracking number. And I got the classic message that a shipping label's been created, but the post office hasn't received the package. Check the next day, same message. The next day, the same message. The next day, the same message. So, 4 days later, I send the guy another message. He says, I don't know, the post office is crazy stupid. That's just the way they are. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. I've seen it happen once in a while, but I buy a lot of things online, and this isn't normal, as he was trying to portray. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a couple more days. So then the weekend hit, and I was just about ready to blast them on the weekend and say, either get me an update from the post office or refund me my money, because it's been almost a week since you shipped and 10 or 11 days since I paid for it. So finally on that Sunday night, I think it was, I checked the status of tracking and it said, received at the post office, so they acknowledged that they had a package. Okay. And this was out of the Chicago areas where the post office is from. So I waited a couple more days. Next thing you know, it says it's been shipped to Pittsburgh. Well, I'm out in Michigan. No reason for it to go from Chicago to Pittsburgh. I know this was happening a lot with the post office, a year or two ago, but I haven't seen that happen in quite a while. So, went to Pittsburgh, sat there for a couple days. Finally, had left Pittsburgh, headed for, my destination, and after 2 weeks and 1 day of me paying for the package, I finally got it. Was it the person's fault on Instagram? No, not really. I mean, he says, post office sucks, and some of us would agree with that. But, if it's really that bad, then maybe you shouldn't offer it as an option for your customers if they're going to get their packages, almost 2.5 weeks later. Because I was pretty frustrated and pretty sure that I wouldn't do business with this guy again. And I'm not sure I would even at this point, because I don't really think that's the right way. I mean, like I said, I buy a lot of things on Facebook and, bought some other stuff on Instagram from another seller. And I usually get it within, literally 2 to 3 days. I've never had it take over 2 weeks. Really never. So I don't know if it can be tagged back on him, but certainly it drew some suspicion. So I'm hoping that what I think is in the box or in the package is in the package. I don't know. You and I are going to find out together. So why don't we check it out and see. Stop all this blabbering and let's see if after waiting over 2 weeks, I got what I was hoping for. Alright, it's a pretty light package. Feels like the stuff is down here. I'm going to take a little cut along here. And it's in a sandwich baggie, so to get the light off of it, let's go ahead and get that out of there. Alright, so this is what I ordered. It looks like I got what I ordered. So let's take a look at this first. It's a 10th ounce American Gold Eagle. And you can see here, let me get my loop out because kind of hard to see. Yep, it is a 2018. So I've commented on a few of my other videos that I'm trying to, if I'm going to buy, a Gold Eagle, I'm trying to buy back dates of years that I don't have. Now, it doesn't matter. No, if I take it to an LCS, they're not going to care if it's a 2018 or 2016 or, 1999 for that matter. But I think it's cool to try to just collect years that you don't have, just as something, to buy. And that's why I specifically went after this one. It was the right price. Maybe $1 or $2 more, I don't know. But it wasn't, I didn't overpay for it. It was, what they were going for at the time. He had several to choose from. I said, hey, as long as you can send me the 2018, I'll buy one. And he agreed to it. And I saw on his other auctions that he was selling some Libertads. Now, Libertads are very expensive, and I don't like to, overpay for these. But I'm doing the same thing with the Libertads. I'm trying to get one from every year. And we can see here, if we look up here, this is a 2014. It's a good classic coin, right? From Mexico. Now, my goal I set out a couple years ago, I haven't really kept up with it, was to get one for every year for the Libertad, one for every year for the American Eagle, which I've accomplished that. I've got that done with the American Silver Eagles, and one for every year for the Canadian Maple Leaf. The Maple Leafs and the Libertads I'm way behind on. And, probably the Maple Leafs would be easier to fill for the price. But some of these Libertads, especially like the early 90s, I think it is, or mid 90s, can be really expensive now. And let me show you what I kind of do to keep track of it. So I didn't copy the whole thing. But if you take a look, I've got a spreadsheet. Looks like this. And looking at it now, it needs to be probably cleaned up a little bit. So what I do is over on the left side, on description, I put the year, and I have a year listed for every year. And if I get more than one, I'll just put it in there twice, like 2018's in there twice, indicating I got more than one. But I have a line entry for every year since the Libertads were made. And so what I do is I keep this handy so that if I see an auction and somebody has something for sale, I can pull this up, whether it's a Maple Leaf Libertads, Silver Eagles. I can see very quickly what I'm missing. You can see here I'm missing the 2014, which is why I picked up the 2014, right? All right, so when going through this list, some of these are quarter ouncers, half ouncers. I mean, I clearly overpaid for some of the stuff. This is the date that I purchased them. Some of them I don't have dates in there. Not really sure why I didn't put the dates down, but so you can see that paying $16 for a 10th ounce is a pretty tall order. But I wanted to get one, 10th ouncer, so I paid $16. But probably wouldn't get another one since I already have one, and especially at that price. And then you can come down here and see that I was just looking at this earlier, like the 2019s. I got a lot. I got the 10th ouncers. I got half ouncers. That is a 5-ounce Libertad. Can you believe that? I got that thing for $100. Do you know what a 5-ounce Libertad costs nowadays? 2019. I bought that for $100. I'm pretty sure I got that from Atmex. I don't recall. But yeah, that's not 5 1-ouncers. Well, even if it was, it'd be a good price at $20 a piece. That's a 5-ounce Libertad for $100. And you can see down here, I paid $202 for the 2020 Libertad. So, twice as much, presumably a year later. And then the 2020s, I paid $36.42 for each. That's 10 of them. Looks like this one I paid $42. I kind of messed up here. I think this is per and this is all. Anyway, so you can just see that, as you know, the 2020, 2021, 2022s, those prices really went up on those things even when they were just first able to get them. All right, so this is my reference sheet. I could pull it up and I could clearly see that I needed a 2014 Libertad. So as long as I was already paying for shipping for the Gold Eagle, so I'll go ahead and throw that in there. And I need to go back and look at what I paid for it. I think I paid $35 for it. Again, a little much, but, it gets one more towards the collection being finished, right? And it appears to be in, good shape. It's not all tarnished or anything. Came in a capsule, so that's pretty cool. Like maybe some milk spouting on the reeded edge possibly. Alright, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, I finally got my package after 2 weeks and a day, and got the Gold Eagle. It's pretty cool. And again, I got the same type of list, so if I go into my spreadsheet for my Eagles, my Gold Eagles, I have the same thing. I have every year listed. I have a different column for 10th, quarters, halves, and wholes, and I can really quickly see if I'm missing something on the Gold Eagles as well. And that just helps sometimes with the auctions. Sometimes you got to be pretty quick on, especially like the buy it now, the bins. They'll say, hey, you can get this Gold Eagle for $212, buy it now. And if you're fumbling around trying to open up a document, trying to look over here, trying to pull your Eagles out and see what you have. Sometimes that time will pass when somebody else will go ahead and get it because you were too busy looking for your stuff. So that's why I like to have these reference sheets handy that I can just quickly pull and look at what I got and know right away whether or not I want it. So that's it. Instagram worked out this time for me. I was pretty concerned that it might not, but I got my stuff. It just took a while to get it, and I'm happy. I think 90% of it was the post office. I think that he could have got it in the mail sooner. It's one thing that took a long time. I think he didn't get it in the mail till 5 or 6 days after I paid for it. That's, most of the time I would have had it for a couple of days by that time. So I understand if somebody's a big dealer and they've got, a lot of stuff that they don't want to go to the post office every day. I completely understand that. But knowing that up front probably would have, managed my expectations a little bit better. All right, well, that's it for now. Thank you for watching. And always remember, let's keep talking bullion.